What's up, Megamaniacs? This is Mr. MegaManFan, and I'm going to test some Super Famicom games I got in the mail, starting with Final Fantasy IV, which you may know better as Final Fantasy II if you live in the United States, but unfortunately this one did not work on the first try, so now it's time to scrub with Q-tips and isopropyl rubbing alcohol, because that is the way to get your carts clean. Do not blow into them, people. It only makes the contacts corrode with your saliva. See, this gets the dirt out. You wipe with the wet end, and you clean with the dry end. And then you put the card in again, and lo and behold, it works. You can also use what they call a one-up card, which is another way of rubbing the contacts clean, but any way you do it is preferable to putting your own spit in the damn thing, so please don't do that. And I'm happy to say this is a tested and working game, which I got for only 99 cents plus the cost of shipping, and since I bought multiple games at one time, the cost of shipping from Japan was actually pretty reasonable. Time to test another game now, Final Fantasy V, which appeared in a couple of compilations, but otherwise was not released in the United States, at least not on Super Nintendo. Now, this cartridge looked pretty bad on the outside, but it actually fired up on the first try when I hit the switch on the Super Famicom, so I was kind of surprised. I thought I would have to clean the heck out of this one given the condition that the cart was in, but nope, this was good to go right from the get-go. And too bad I can't read Japanese characters. I'll just have to play a translation patch of it, but at least I can now say I own a physical copy of FF5 on the Super Famicom. Next up is Fortune Street 2, another 99-cent game, and I've been told it's a cross between Mario Party and Sonic Party, I guess. Something like the best or worst of those two games, depending on your perspective. This is from Onyx before they merged with Square and became Square Onyx. Yeah, we've got Square games and Onyx games, but they are not one company yet. Not even close to being. And as you can see, your main characters from Fortune Street 2 are parachuting into these little buildings, which are representative of the buildings they will control in board spaces in the board game. I guess maybe you could also say it's kind of a cross with Mario Party and Monopoly. Something like that. But of course it was all I could do, puzzling my way through the menus just to get a game started, select a board, select a character, and actually get it to the point where I could roll dice. And beyond that, I just really couldn't figure out what I was doing. So it looks cool. If I get a translation patch and dump the ROM and play it that way, I'll probably enjoy myself, but for now, that's as much as I'm going to do. Next, we have Mario and Wario, and this is another one that I'm only going to get so far with if it works on the first try, because I do not have a Super Nintendo mouse, and it didn't work on the first try, as you can see by this Q-tip, but one cleaning later, and the cart works just fine. Now, I do have a patch for this game that lets you play it with the control pad instead of the mouse, but I'm going to have to do that later because right now I'm just testing it, and this is as far as I could get. So we move on to Seiken Densetsu 2, which was released in the United States as Secret of Mana. Now, what's hilarious is A, this is a perfect cart that I got for only 99 cents, and B, if you buy the American game, it is at least 30 to 50 times more than 99 cents, maybe even 100 times more. I forget what Secret of Mana goes for loose these days, but it is not an inexpensive game, but if you buy it from Japan, 99 cents. So that's a little bargain tip for all of you out there that want a physical copy of this game. And what's even more hilarious is that this entire intro is in English, no matter what version of it you have. I'll narrate it for you as it scrolls up the screen here. Square, 1993. In a calamity, people awaited for a brave with the sword. The sword revealed the power of its true nature to retrieve the peace. Excalibur, Kusanagi, and all the other swords talked about in myth, legend, and saga. People named those swords in many ways, but they all mean one thing: the one and only Sword of Mana. And that's your introduction to Secret of Mana, also known as Second Densetsu 2. And last but not least, we have Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling. And I wasn't sure what sort of pro wrestling game this would be, whether it would be like a Fire Pro Wrestling game or a WWF Superstars game. As it turns out, the roster is All Japan Pro Wrestling, which happens to be one of the leagues that I know very little about. I know a lot about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know a little bit about Dragon Gate and a few other smaller promotions, but I just don't know the All Japan roster that well. And with no instruction manual, I've got no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to grapple, trying to do some moves. At one point here, I actually end up outside of the ring. I was able to get back into the ring, but not do much else. So that's where this video ends. I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and as always, thank you for watching.